Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, life is a journey filled with both joy and sorrow, moments of triumph and moments of pain. Each one of us carries experiences that have left scars on our hearts: loss, betrayal, failure, or disappointment. While pain is an inevitable part of being human, suffering is what happens when we hold on to that pain and allow it to define our present and our future. Today, I want to share with you the message: let go of pain or suffering. Pain comes to us as a teacher. It tells us something about our lives, our values, and our limits. But when we clutch it tightly, when we replay the memory over and over, we transform that pain into lifelong suffering. It's like carrying a heavy stone in your heart. Every day, the stone doesn't get lighter just because you hold on to it longer. It only weighs you down, making it harder to move forward. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean pretending that the hurt never happened. It means accepting what is beyond our control, learning the lessons hidden within, and choosing to free ourselves from the chains of resentment, anger, or regret. Forgiveness, whether toward others or ourselves, is one of the most powerful ways to let go. When we forgive, we do not excuse the wrong. Instead, we release its power to poison our spirit. Think about it. Flowers do not bloom by clinging to winter. They open by leaning into spring. In the same way, your soul cannot truly shine while it holds on to yesterday's wounds. To let go is to give yourself permission to heal, to step into a lighter, freer version of yourself. So I urge you, friends, do not let pain become your permanent identity. Release it. Transform it into wisdom, compassion, and strength. Trust that your past was a chapter, not the whole book. The moment you let go of suffering, you open the door to peace, joy, and the beauty of new beginnings. Let us choose today to live not as prisoners of our pain, but as witnesses of our resilience. Remember, freedom is not found in holding tighter. It is found in letting go. Thank you. Pain is a universal experience. Every person, no matter how strong or wise, encounters moments of hurt, loss, or disappointment. It may come through failure, broken relationships, or unexpected circumstances that shake our hearts. But while pain is something we cannot avoid, suffering is different. Suffering is not simply what happens to us, but how we respond to what happens. It is the choice to hold on to pain, to replay the past, and to let the wound remain open. This is why we say pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. When pain knocks at our door, it comes as a visitor, not as a permanent resident. But many of us allow it to take over our lives, to define our thoughts, and to steal our joy. The truth is, pain can teach us lessons, but it was never meant to control our destiny. Imagine a cut on your hand. The injury hurts, but over time, the body naturally begins to heal. Now imagine if you kept reopening that cut every day. It would never heal, and the suffering would continue. That is exactly what happens when we hold on to emotional wounds. The pain may have been real, but by clinging to it, we turn it into lifelong suffering. We need to understand that life does not give us control over everything, but it gives us the power to choose how we respond. We cannot stop pain from entering, but we can refuse to let suffering take over. The moment we accept that pain is temporary and that suffering is within our control, we take back our strength. We realize that peace is possible, not because life is perfect, but because we decide to release what is hurting us. That choice is where true freedom begins. When we cling to pain, it becomes like a heavy burden strapped to our hearts. The more tightly we hold on to past hurts, the more they weigh us down. Instead of moving forward with hope, we find ourselves trapped in memories of what went wrong, replaying moments that can never be changed. It is as though we are carrying a sack filled with stones everywhere we go, each stone representing an old wound, a bitter word, or a failure we cannot forget. Over time, this burden exhausts us, drains our energy, and steals the joy from our present moments. The truth is that life is meant to be lived forward. No one can drive a car safely while staring only in the rearview mirror, yet many of us do exactly that with our emotions. By constantly revisiting the past, we miss the opportunities and blessings that are right in front of us. Clinging to pain robs us of peace, leaving little room for happiness to enter. Even worse, it shapes our outlook on life, making us suspicious, fearful, or closed off to love and growth. Letting go of pain is not easy, but it is necessary for healing. We must learn to recognize when a memory or emotion is no longer serving us. If it does nothing but make us heavy, it is time to release it. Holding on does not protect us. It only keeps us from flying higher. Releasing pain creates space for hope, renewal, and peace to enter. Just like a bird must spread its wings to soar, we must drop the weight of the past to rise into a brighter tomorrow. By choosing to release what burdens us, we open ourselves to freedom and a new beginning. Letting go of pain does not mean pretending that it never happened or erasing it from our memory. It is not about denying reality or forcing ourselves to smile when our hearts are heavy. Instead, letting go means accepting the truth of what occurred, learning the lessons it offered, and refusing to let it chain us to the past. Pain is part of life, but carrying it forever is a choice we make. To let go is to acknowledge the wound honor the experience, and then choose not to let it define who we are today. Many people believe that moving on means forgetting, but forgetting is not necessary. In fact, our painful moments often shape us, making us stronger and wiser. What matters is how we carry those memories. We can hold them with peace, or we can clutch them with anger and resentment. The difference is enormous. When we accept the past for what it is, we free ourselves from the endless cycle of what if and why me. Acceptance is the doorway to peace, because it shifts our focus from what we cannot change to what we can create now. Choosing to let go does not mean weakness, it is an act of strength. It takes courage to release resentment, to stop reliving old stories, and to say, this no longer controls me. The process may be slow, and the heart may resist. But with time, release becomes healing. The moment we stop feeding pain with constant attention, it begins to lose its power. And in that space, new joy can be born. Letting go is not forgetting. It is choosing freedom, choosing growth, and choosing to live fully in the present rather than in the shadows of yesterday. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools we have for releasing suffering. Often, the pain we carry is tied to the actions of others or even to mistakes we ourselves have made. We replay the offense, the betrayal, or the regret in our minds, and each replay deepens the wound. What we don't realize is that holding on to anger or guilt does not punish the other person. It only poisons our own spirit. Forgiveness is not about excusing the wrong or saying that what happened was acceptable. Instead, it is about freeing ourselves from the heavy chains that keep us tied to that moment of hurt. When we choose forgiveness, we choose freedom. We release the grip that the past has on us. The person who hurt us may never apologize, and the situation may never change, but we can decide not to let it rob us of peace any longer. Forgiving someone does not mean we have to allow them back into our lives or continue to accept harmful behavior. It simply means we refuse to let bitterness and resentment control our hearts. Equally important is forgiving ourselves. Many of us carry guilt for mistakes we made years ago. We punish ourselves with regret and self-blame, believing we are unworthy of healing. But forgiveness toward oneself is just as vital as forgiving others. We are all human and we all stumble. The lesson of pain is not to stay trapped in guilt, but to rise wiser and kinder. Forgiveness is like unlocking a prison door only to realize the prisoner was you all along. By forgiving, we do not lose, we gain peace, clarity, and the ability to live fully again. It is through forgiveness that true healing begins. Healing truly begins when we make the conscious decision to release the past. Just as seasons change, life calls us to move forward rather than remain frozen in what has already happened. Flowers do not bloom by holding on to winter. They flourish by embracing the warmth and light of spring. In the same way, our hearts cannot grow if they are locked in yesterday's pain. Holding on to what hurt us may feel safe at times because it is familiar, but in reality, it prevents us from experiencing the beauty and opportunities that lie ahead. When we release the past, we create space for renewal. It is like clearing a garden of weeds so that new seeds can grow. The memories of pain may not vanish, but their grip on us weakens. Instead of seeing them as chains, we begin to see them as lessons, stepping stones that led us to greater wisdom and strength. Healing does not erase the scars, but it transforms them into symbols of resilience. Every scar tells a story, but it does not have to dictate our future. The process of healing requires patience and courage. It may involve tears, reflection, and even setbacks. But each time we choose to let go of bitterness, each time we refuse to dwell on what cannot be changed, we move one step closer to peace. Over time, the weight that once felt unbearable becomes lighter, and hope begins to take its place. Letting go of the past is not just about leaving pain behind, it is about opening ourselves to joy, love, and growth. Healing begins when we decide that our future is more important than our wounds. That decision allows us to step into a brighter, freer, and more meaningful tomorrow. True freedom is found in the art of letting go. When we release the pain and suffering that once held us captive, we open ourselves to a life of peace and fulfillment. Holding on to the past keeps us bound in invisible chains. It steals our present moments and blinds us to the possibilities ahead. But when we decide to let go, we reclaim control over our lives. Freedom is not about having a life without challenges. It is about choosing not to let challenges define our hearts or dictate our joy. Letting go transforms pain into wisdom. Every hardship we release teaches us something about resilience, compassion, and the strength of the human spirit. We begin to see that our struggles were not in vain. They were shaping us into stronger, kinder, and more aware individuals. By letting go, we stop being victims of our experiences and become creators of our future. The past may have left marks on us, but those marks can shine as evidence of survival and growth, rather than reminders of suffering. Freedom also comes with lightness. Imagine carrying a heavy load for years and suddenly setting it down. The relief, the breath of fresh air, the ability to move forward. This is the gift of release. When we drop the weight of anger, regret, or sorrow, our spirits rise higher, ready to embrace joy and peace. Letting go is not an act of weakness, but of courage. It takes strength to step away from what is familiar, even if it causes us pain. But the reward is a life lived with open hands and an open heart. In letting go, we discover the beauty of new beginnings and the true essence of freedom.